Today I am taking up the topic digestion and absorption. This chapter is divided into three parts. Today I am dealing with the first part, alimentary canal. Second part consists of digestive glands. Third part, physiology of digestion. Today I am going to take up the topic alimentary canal under part 1. So in human beings, there is a well-developed digestive system. The digestive system has two parts, alimentary canal and digestive glands. The alimentary canal is very long and coiled inside the abdominal cavity. The alimentary canal begins with the mouth and ends with the anus. Various parts associated with the alimentary canal are mouth. Mouth opens into a buccal cavity. Buccal cavity leads into a pharynx. Pharynx opens into a narrow, long tube called esophagus. Esophagus enters the abdominal cavity and opens into the stomach. After the stomach, there is small intestine. After the small intestine, there is a large intestine, then anus. These are the main parts. Now let us study in detail about these parts. Mouth. Mouth leads into buccal cavity. In the buccal cavity, we have to study two important structures. One is the tongue, other one is the teeth. Coming to the teeth, dentition in human beings is known as thecodont, diphyodont, and heterodont. Thecodont means the teeth are situated in sockets of jawbone known as theca, so they are known as thecodont. The teeth appear twice during our lifetime, so they got the name diphyodont. The first set is known as milk set or deciduous set. The milk set is replaced by a permanent set. That's why we call the dentition as diphyodont. Then heterodont. We have four types of teeth. They are incisors, canines, premolars, and molars. They are not only different in shape but also in their function. Incisors are cutting teeth. They are chisel-like. They help in cutting the food into small pieces. Canines have pointed tips and they help in tearing meat. Canines are highly developed in carnivorous animals like tiger, lion, etc. Then premolars and molars. Premolars and molars, they have a broad surface and they help in grinding the food or mastication of the food. So in this way, there are four types of teeth. Then we have studied about dental formula. Here I means incisors, C means canines, PM means premolars, M means molars. So incisors, here this formula applies to half of the jaw. Incisors on the upper jaw 2, lower jaw 2. Canines on the upper jaw 1, lower jaw 1. Premolars 2 each on upper jaw and lower jaw. Molars 3 each on upper jaw and lower jaw. Then if you multiply these by 2, we get the total number. That is, the total number of permanent teeth in human beings is 32. Coming to the milk set. In the milk set, in both upper jaw and lower jaw, 2 incisors are present, 1 canine is present, premolars are absent completely. Then molars are 2 each on upper jaw and lower jaw. If you multiply this figure by 2, we get 20. So, 20 teeth are present in the milk set, whereas in the permanent set, 32 teeth are present. In this way, there are 4 types of teeth performing different functions. Then, the last molar teeth are very important. They appear very late in life, after 18 years, sometimes 21 years, like that. These are known as wisdom teeth and are considered as vestigial organs. Sometimes they may not appear at all. So, wisdom teeth are considered as vestigial organs. Then coming to the tongue. Tongue is attached to the floor of the buccal cavity by a structure called frenulum. On the surface of the tongue, there are papillae. Papillae contain taste buds for different tastes. So, with the help of the tongue, we find out the taste of food. The buccal cavity opens into pharynx. Pharynx is present immediately after the buccal cavity and it has 3 parts. The upper part of the pharynx is known as nasopharynx. In the middle part of the pharynx is called oropharynx, and the lower part of the pharynx is called laryngopharynx. Internal nostrils open into the nasopharynx. The buccal cavity opens into the oropharynx. Laryngopharynx communicates with the larynx or voice box. We've got a voice box here. So, the lower part of the pharynx, which is known as the laryngopharynx, opens into the larynx through a slit-like opening known as glottis. The glottis is covered by a flap-like structure known as epiglottis. Whenever we swallow food or drink water, the epiglottis covers the glottis and prevents entry of food and water into the respiratory system, that is into the larynx. Then, esophagus. Esophagus is a long, narrow tube. It travels through the neck, thoracic cavity, pierces through the diaphragm, and enters the abdominal cavity. In the abdominal cavity, it opens into the stomach. Stomach is the largest part of the digestive system. It is a J-shaped bag-like structure. It is a J-shaped bag-like structure, and it is present just below the diaphragm on the left side of the abdomen. It has again 3 parts: cardiac, stomach, fundic stomach or pyloric stomach, or cardiac region, fundic region, and pyloric region. The esophagus opens into the cardiac region. At the junction of esophagus and cardiac stomach, there is a sphincter known as the cardiac sphincter. The cardiac sphincter prevents regurgitation of the food, or it prevents backward movement of the food into the esophagus. Then, fundus or fundic region has a large number of digestive glands. I will be dealing with that later on. Then last part is pyloric region. Pyloric region is a narrow part and it communicates with the small intestine. At the junction of the pylorus and the small intestine, there is another sphincter known as the pyloric sphincter. Pyloric sphincter prevents backward movement of food from the small intestine into the stomach. See, the sphincters are made of only circular muscles. In the digestive system, the sphincters are made of smooth muscles and of circular muscles. Then, the stomach wall is very thick. Muscle layer is highly developed. And the stomach helps in churning the food or pulverizing the food. Then the inner wall of the stomach produces a number of longitudinal foldings known as rugae. So the longitudinal foldings present along the inner surface of the stomach is known as rugae. Then small intestine. The small intestine is again consists of three parts. Anterior, U-shaped duodenum. The middle part, jejunum. And the last part, ileum. Duodenum is a U-shaped structure into which are released the bile juice and the pancreatic juice. It also secretes some hormones. I will be dealing with that later on. Jejunum is a long coiled middle part. Ileum is the last part and is highly coiled. Jejunum and ileum, they have got inside finger-like structures called villi. Villi help in absorption of the digested food. Then, the small intestine opens into the large intestine. The large intestine has also three parts. They are cecum, colon, rectum. Cecum is a blind sac-like structure and it contains symbiotic bacteria. In herbivores like rabbit, cecum is highly developed and cecum participates in cellulose digestion in the case of herbivorous animals. But in human beings, it is very small. Attached to the cecum, there is a narrow tube-like structure called vermiform appendix. Vermiform appendix. It looks like a worm, like an earthworm. That's what is called vermiform appendix. The vermiform appendix is considered as a vestigial organ. Sometimes it gets infected and it has to be removed. Otherwise, it causes danger to the survival of the animal. Colon. It has three parts: ascending, transverse, and descending parts. The undigested food is stored in the colon for a long time, where water is absorbed from the undigested food. Then colon opens into rectum, and rectum opens to the outside through anus. So in this way, there are different parts in the alimentary canal. Now we have to study the histology of the gut wall. Gut wall means the wall of the alimentary canal. From esophagus to the rectum, the gut wall is made of four layers. From outside, they are serosa, muscularis, submucosa, and mucosa. So the outermost layer is called serosa. It is made of a layer known as mesothelium. It is actually the coelomic epithelium. The mesothelium, along with a thin layer of connective tissue, forms the serosa. The mesothelium also forms the mesenteries. The mesenteries suspend the alimentary canal in the abdominal cavity. Below the serosa lies the muscularis. The muscularis is made of three layers: outermost longitudinal muscles, middle circular muscles, and innermost oblique muscles. Oblique muscles are not present throughout the length of the alimentary canal. They are confined only to some regions, but in the stomach they are highly developed. So among the muscle layer, outermost part consists of circular longitudinal muscles, middle layer circular muscles, and innermost oblique muscles. As already I have told you, in the stomach wall, the muscle layer is highly developed. And the muscle layer is derived from involuntary muscles or smooth muscles. So they are not under our control. The muscle layer performs two important functions. In the stomach, it helps in churning the food, and in the intestine, it creates peristaltic movements. The peristaltic movements propel the food towards the anus. Then, coming to the submucosa. Below the muscle layer lies the submucosa. Submucosa is made of loose connective tissue. In this loose connective tissue, we come across blood vessels, lymph vessels, nerves, and also some glands, especially the Brunner's glands. Brunner's glands are present in the duodenum and they penetrate into the submucosa. The innermost layer is mucosa. It is made of a single layer of cells derived from endoderm. Here you have to remember that the serosa, muscularis, and submucosa, all three are mesodermal structures, whereas the mucosa is endodermal in nature. It produces digestive glands in the stomach and also in the intestine. Mucosa produces longitudinal foldings in the stomach known as rugae. Already I have told you. It also produces finger-like structures in the small intestine called villi. In the villi, we come across lacteals. Lacteals are lymph vessels. The digested lipids cannot be absorbed into the blood directly. So, they first enter the lacteals and from there they enter the blood vascular system through venous system. Then, the villi produce microvilli. Microvilli are also known as the brush borders. The microvilli increase the surface area of absorption by many times. As a result, food is effectively absorbed into the blood. Then, mucosa also contains goblet cells. These goblet cells secrete mucus. So, that is about histology of the gut wall. In the next topic, I will take up the digestive glands. Okay, thank you.